Run us through some of the changes that are on the way.
Yeah, this is the big wave that many people who live out here in the Asia Pacific have been waiting for quite some time. Of course, while the rest of the world pretty much opens up, the United States and Europe, as well as regional competitor Singapore, which opened up in March of this year. Look at this right here, all in one tsunami, if you will. A positive tsunami. Japan is going to end its controls, its border controls, pretty much across the board as of October 11th. Fumio Kishida, the Prime Minister, speaking at the New York Stock Exchange, pretty much said that they're going to open up to be on par with the restrictions or lack thereof in the United States. So Japan obviously would like to capitalize on the extremely weak yen that touched 145 before that intervention. And that weak yen could potentially attract foreign tourists to come and take advantage of the weaker currency. So that's a similar situation across North Asia, except for Hong Kong, which of course has a dollar peg. But Taiwan's currency has weakened. South Korea's won has weakened. These economies, somewhat later than Singapore and others around the world opening up, essentially want to take advantage of that and take advantage of a receding pandemic right now. It's not going to be all done in one fell swoop in South Korea or in Taiwan. Taiwan's going to still analyze data for a week before ending its 3-day quarantine, but it looks as though the tide is happening.
What about Hong Kong, Steve? Is that easing actually going to happen?
Well, we're waiting for an official announcement. All indications have been that the government is just days away from making that announcement, from going from 3 days quarantine plus 4 days self-monitoring to 0 days hotel quarantine and 7 days monitoring, potentially moving that to 3 days of self-monitoring. Again, keep in mind, Hong Kong has this big bankers summit coming up in the first week of November, followed immediately by the Rugby Sevens. So any kind of hotel quarantine would be a hindrance to the success of those two gatherings. We're just waiting. Could happen today, could happen next week, but it will likely happen fairly swiftly, the implementation, once the announcement is made. They are making sure that they have all their ducks in a row before they absolutely open. But this is long time coming, especially after Singapore has been having its own bankers summit and has been essentially laser focused on competing directly for the high net worth individuals and the bankers and the like from Hong Kong. So Hong Kong sees the writing on the wall, and John Lee, the chief executive, perhaps winning out in that internal debate with health officials who'd like to see a bit more of a conservative approach to containing the virus. It looks as though the pragmatists have won that battle for now.